against Grimsby. Well, this is it. Into the playoffs we go. Our summariser, urging us on the way, is former player and manager here at the Gay Meadow, Alan Durbin. Our match commentator is Stuart Dunn.
Thank you, James. Well, it's been some build-up, hasn't it? 2 hours on air on BBC Radio Shropshire already, but the start of this big game is almost in sight, almost upon us. Of course, this is what we're here for. First and foremost, of course, it's been terrific to honour some of the legends of Shrewsbury Town's proud history before the game and the parade of legends. But now we are at the business end of the afternoon, as I'm sure Gary Peters, the manager, would refer to it, and a massive task ahead for the town. They need to get at least a point here against Grimsby to ensure they will be in the playoffs. A host of young mascots for the town today. As I look out at the centre circle lineup, 11 mascots, which must be a first. William Butler, Callum Braybrook, Ashley Evans, Josh Empson, Sarah Dillow, Bradley Harris, Sophie Hooper, Nathan James, Rebecca Jones, Luke Morris and Joshua Dunmore. A memorable day, of course, for all of those youngsters, given the honour of leading the town out for this farewell Football League game at Gay Meadow, the club's home of 97 years. The town players just going through their final pre-match preparations here. Richard Hope, the captain, just making sure everyone's up for this one, and the scene is set for one final time. A historic day in Shrewsbury Town's history, the final Football League game at Gay Meadow about to get underway. Fittingly, I suppose, Town will be playing towards the Wakeman end, which has really become the popular end of Gay Meadow. In this first half here at the Gay... in this second half, rather, they'll be playing towards the Wakeman end. They'll be playing towards the station end, also full of Town fans on all four sides of the meadow today. And we are underway. Grimsby in their black and white striped shirts and white shorts. Shrewsbury, of course, as always, well, certainly has been the case for the last 25-30 years, in blue and amber. And they look to build straight away down the left-hand side. Keep you bang up to date, of course, with how AFC Telford United fare in their Unibond League final, and of course how the other teams chasing playoff glory in League 2 are faring throughout the course of the afternoon. Manchester United against Manchester City. I think United have scored. It's finished. It's a 1-0 to Manchester United in that local derby. So that means Chelsea must win at Arsenal tomorrow to keep the title race alive. Early stages then at Gay Meadow. Grimsby edging forward down the left-hand side. They forced a throw-in. Kieran Toner, Northern Ireland international, seeking some movement from some of his teammates. The Mariners, of course, not an awful lot at stake for them. They're in lower mid-table, can neither go up nor down, and they give the ball away here. Ben Davies on the right-hand side of midfield. Drakes over the halfway line, looks for Cook, and Grimsby this time will keep the ball nice and sensibly at the back. Alan Durbin, delighted to have alongside me today in the Gay Meadow press box. How important these early stages for the town lads to get any sort of nerves out of their system?
Well, they've played the ball about a little bit, and nearly everybody's had a touch, and that's an important thing. Asamoah's on a good run here, so I'll pass you back.
Asamoah does really well. Neil Ashton on the left-hand side, looked for Cook, charged down to the near post. Ashton again, left-hand side, good-looking ball, headed up in the air. Keeper Barnes comes through a crowd of players, and good hands from the Grimsby Town goalkeeper.
Pitch is heavily watered. It looks in exceptionally good condition, and I think it could be a really good passing game. And with no wind, I think it looks as if it'll be. I think it's going to be Town's day.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so indeed. Alan Buckley, of course, the Grimsby manager. He likes his teams to get the ball down and play, so you would hope it would be a good footballing spectacle. Of course, so many teams come here and are a bit defensive or resort to the long ball game. Not a bit of it, though, with Grimsby Town. Alan Buckley, in his third spell in charge of Blundell Park these days, is a tried and tested football man. Goal kick to the town here. Scott Shearer just spotting up the ball in the Wakeman end penalty area. Sure, it's understandable. A lot of youngsters in this town side, Alan. There will be nerves aplenty, you would think, jangling.
I don't know. I think they will feel that they can win this. I think the fact that Grimsby haven't got a great deal to play for, I think they can play with a lot of confidence, and I think they will realise the importance of the day with such a big crowd.
Flying start for Telford. Telford 1 up inside 60 seconds. Lee Moore, 17th goal of the season for the top scorer, replaces Steve Foster at the top of the Bucks goal chart. What a dream start for Telford. Remember, winner takes all, Unibond League final, and they are ahead inside a minute. No score here at Gay Meadow. Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 0. Grimsby play the ball over the halfway line. Nice touch from the young forward Taylor. Grimsby tried for the forward ball again. Hope does well defensively. High ball played up towards Langmead now. Towering header won by the outstanding Langmead, who's had such an excellent season. Ball bouncing around just inside the Grimsby half. It's with their long-serving fullback John McDermott. Give you the full team lineups in a moment during a convenient break in play. And Grimsby just knocking the ball around inside their own half on the right-hand side. McDermott now stabs it forward, looking for Peter Till. It's wayward, and out of play it goes. Town team then, unchanged today from the team which did so well at Hereford last Saturday lunchtime. Scott Shearer, the goalkeeper. Back four, Luke Jones, Richard Hope, the captain, Kelvin Langmead and Mark Tierney. In midfield, Ben Davies, Dave Edwards, Stuart Drummond and Neil Ashton. And up front, Andy Cooke and Derek Asamoah. Awkward ball for Langmead to deal with here. Did well. Let the ball bounce in front of him with Taylor on his shoulder. And Shearer comes out and starts a Town attack off. Throws the ball out to the left back. Mark Tierney with that shaven head. Looks long. Well taken on the chest by Andy Cooke. Town all of a sudden on the attack with Cooke down the left-hand side. Cross is too close, though, to the Grimsby keeper, Phil Barnes.
Yeah, there was an opportunity there to just leave the full-back cross it and for him to get in the box, and tried it with his left foot, but with a little shank and went straight in the goalkeeper's hands, unfortunately.
Well, Phil Barnes is the Grimsby goalkeeper, very experienced custodian he is too. Back four, John McDermott at right back, Tom Newey left back, centre halves Ryan Bennett and Nick Fenton. In midfield, Peter Till, once of Birmingham on the right. In the centre, Danny Boschel and Paul Bolland, Kieran Turner on the left flank, and up front Andy Taylor and Gary Jones, once of Tranmere, who we think, if anybody, for Grimsby, Alan Durban, could perhaps be the main danger man for the Mariners.
Yeah, the only thing is he's got no pace now, and as a result I think Shrewsbury will be prepared to play quite a high line defensively, because I don't think he's ever going to get through on too many quick balls. I don't know how quick the other striker is, but he certainly hasn't got any size.
Town look to build down the right hand side. Edwards prays the ball out to the near side towards Davis. Ball was slightly overhit, bounces out to play. Grimsby throw in front of the family stand, for those who know, allowed to Gay Meadow. Ball down the line towards Jones, caught laid by his namesake Luke Jones. Don't think there was any great malice there from Luke Jones. And the referee, Graham Laws of Tyne and Weir, I think we'll just have a quiet word with Luke Jones here.
Yeah, I mean, it was very similar to that McShane incident with West Brom a couple of weeks ago. He's gone honestly for the ball, and the lad actually got a good header in, but it was a nasty collision, and unfortunately the lad's okay.
BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM, 5 minutes played at Gay Meadow. Town 0, Grimsby 0. Remember, a point would do for the Town, and they would be into the playoffs. Telford, though, flying start for Rob Smith's side, roared on by a couple of thousand travelling Bucks fans today. They are 1 up at Whitton, thanks to Lee Moore in the Unibond League final. Remember, if Telford win, they'll be playing in the Conference North next season. Town give the ball away here, midway inside their own half. The combative Drummond tries to win it back. Tackles fly in. Drummond was a little bit late, Edwards as well, and referee Laws decrees that should be a Grimsby free kick here, about 40 yards out. Town have not started well in recent games here at Gay Meadow. They trailed early on to both Accrington and to MK Dons, but of course they came back to win both of those games. Really are a resilient side these days, Town, under Gary Peters. They have to defend a Grimsby free kick here, though. It's midway inside the Town half. Grimsby playing towards the Wakeman end, which is bathed in sunshine this afternoon. They knock it square to Newey on this near side. Awkward angle ball towards the far post. Edwards can't really get off the ground this time. Town clear up towards the ever-willing Asamoah, and the long-serving McDermott hammers Grimsby back downfield. Decent hold-up play from Jones, who's showing no ill effects of that earlier clash from Luke Jones. Drummond comes away with the ball now for the Town. Plays it out to Asamoah, left-hand side, midway inside the Grimsby half. Asamoah at pace, comes inside, completely overdoes it, and Grimsby knock it back to the goalkeeper. Big game towards the foot of League 2 today. Macclesfield, who really need to win to banish all fears of relegation, they have scored early. Macclesfield 1, Notts County 0. John Miles on target for Paul Ince's side. 7 minutes played here, though, and a fairly even, Stephen sort of start.
Yeah, it hasn't really settled, and I was a bit surprised there, because I thought Gary Jones bent down to head the ball, and a free kick was given for dangerous kicking, and yet the lad did actually bend right down to head it.
Grimsby have the ball in their distinctive black and white stripes. Riverside is in good voice, indulging in some friendly taunt with the Town fans at the station end, shouting "Who are you?" in their direction. Of course, they are Town through and through. Town fans on all four sides of Gay Meadow. I suppose in your day, Alan, when you were here, the station end used to be the popular end, was it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it was. Our gates increased dramatically when we had a very good run when I first came here, and when we started in the old 4th division, and the atmosphere has always been very good. I quite like the atmosphere when the crowd are very close to the players, and of course this will change when they move to the new ground.
Yep, will take a while to get used to, I'm sure, the shiny new meadow, but we will be there very soon. The next time Town play the Football League game, of course, will be at their new ground on Otley Road. Some defensive work for Langmead to do here. Didn't do it too convincingly, did it just about sufficiently though. Scoops the ball off to the left-hand side. Grimsby will have a throw 10 yards from the corner flag as they play towards the Wakeman end in front of the Riverside. Peter Till will hurl it into the box. Hope climbs well, wins a good header. Richard Hope's father John used to be a Grimsby Town goalkeeper many years ago, so we will have connections with the Mariners as Town look for the outlet that is Asamoah once again. Grimsby looked long this time. Langmead wins one header, then he goes for the second ball, loses out, and Hope this time knocks it back to Shearer. Awkward ball for Shearer to deal with, just about screws it upfield, but signs of nerves. I suppose it's to be expected about these Town players early on. Edwards wins it back, does well Edwards. Charges over the halfway line. Neil Ashton now, the boy from Birkenhead with a crew cut on the charge, has Asamoah outside of him. Asamoah will just about keep the ball in, tries to win Town a corner and does win Town a corner. Chance for Town to deliver something from these set pieces, which I know they were working on in training yesterday here.
Well, they look to me as if Shrewsbury can find a lot of space down this left-hand side. There's a couple of times Turney hasn't really involved himself enough. He's let Asamoah cross it rather than he be doing the crossing and let the strikers get into the box.
Town corner then to be taken by the former Chester player Ben Davies, who's laid on so many goals this season. Decent delivery towards Hope, 2-5 in, comes in around the back. It was Drummond, and Langmead was in there as well. Langmead it was eventually, headed it down and it bounced up and over the bar, and he beats the ground in frustration there. Langmead came really late around the back there. It wasn't a bad chance for him.
It was a good chance. It was a good chance. The quality of the cross was very, very good. The movement of the two centre-backs coming in late at the back, coming in with a lot of body weight. And on another day, he might have done better.
They've always been a good set-piece team, the Town, of course,
yes,
from your days in charge here, Alan.
No, it was Richie, I think, that used to. I like to play five-a-sides. I didn't do an awful lot of... it was Richie with the Maguire and the Chapman trick.
Paul Maguire and Sammy Chapman, two heroes of yesteryear, sadly not here today. Couldn't fit all of the old boys in, I suppose. Very distinguished list, though, of 50-plus old boys here today, including Alan Durbin, our summariser today, alongside myself, Stuart Dunn here on BBC Radio Shropshire. 10 minutes played, no score. Town 0, Grimsby 0. Telford are 1 up, though, in the Unibond League playoff at Whitton. Lee Moore, the top scorer, inside 60 seconds for Telford. Could be a memorable day for Telford. I know you still live in Telford, Alan. It goes without saying, I'm sure you'd love to see Telford get up another rung up the footballing ladder.
Well, I'd like a hat-trick today, actually, with Shrewsbury and with Wolves as well. It'd be quite nice.
Yep, Wolves going to have to wait till tomorrow. In fact, they're playing at Leicester tomorrow, yeah, so
that's right.
Vital weekend for the local sides. As Grimsby come forward with Taylor down the left-hand side, gives the ball away. Hope collects it for the Town. Tierney, elaborate ball with his instep, finds Ashton just in front of him, and Ashton looks down to see by a bobble there, I think, and he shanks the ball straight out of play and into the middle of the side. The pitch is quite frankly very, very tired. I had a bit of a kickabout here yesterday with Dave Lucas, the groundsman, and a couple of others. It was bobbling all over the place. It really is a tired pitch. You can see the club haven't really put any great money into it because they know they're moving, and I think it deserves a rest, this Gay Meadow pitch, after all these years.
You'd be okay at Wembley then, would you?
I wish. 3 weeks today, we might be there.
Yes,
let's hope
right.
so.
A long weekend. I'm looking forward to a long weekend.
Would be terrific. Plenty of work for Town to do before that, though. It's 0-0 here today. West Ham have scored in the Premiership. West Ham 1, Bolton 0. Carlos Tevez, the Argentine, such a controversial signing, has got an early goal for the Hammers as they look to stay up there. Town have the ball on the edge of the Grimsby box, not for long. Grimsby clear. Langmead wins a towering header, and this time it's on the left-hand side with Bolland, former Bradford and Notts County player. Uses his fullback Newey up towards the halfway line. Header well won by Luke Jones. Grimsby collect the loose ball, though Edwards tries to win it back, and he's still snapping away there. Dave Edwards, the boy who was called up into the Wales squad earlier this season. Grimsby now try to get Taylor away down the right-hand side, well read by Hope once more, and now Town look to turn defence into attack. Turney's clearance though is a bunch of players, and good awareness, good concentration from Scott Shearer, the Scotsman playing in goal for Shrewsbury Town. 13-0 here, and Telford still at Whitton in the Uniball League final. Lee Moore inside a minute for Rob Smith's side. All going swimmingly for Telford then, and Town doing okay as well. Fair to say the game hasn't really taken off as yet, Alan.
No, the one thing that I have noticed already is that you can see why Langmead has won all the awards this year, because he's been a terrific heading the ball, and already he's competed successfully with Gary Jones on a number of occasions, and Gary Jones has played at a much higher level than this.
Well, Town build down the left. Tierney tries to win a corner, thinks he should have had one, but his cross in from the left came back off Peter Till, and it bounces off the shins of Tierney in the end, and that will be a goal kick to Grimsby Town. Of course, these Town players, many of them will want to put on a show in front of so many club legends that are here today. Of course, all about getting the result first and foremost, but if they could do it with a bit of style thrown in for good measure, all the better, isn't it? As Town look for Asamoah this time. Hasn't really got into the game as yet, the Ghana international. The ball is just inside the Town half as they look for Davis in the centre circle, slightly away from Davis, and now Grimsby have it with Toner. Wants of Leighton Orient, neat and tidy on the ball, goes back into his own half. Newey plays it square to Fenton, and now will play it long forward, right-footed, looking for Taylor. Good movement from Taylor. The flag's up for offside though, and Shrewsbury will have a free kick just inside their own half. Considering it's a full house, it's all fairly quiet inside the meadow at the moment.
They'll be feeling like everybody else does, and the players do, because it's it's a big occasion, and there's bound to be one or two nerves about. I'm surprised that Asamoah is spending so much time wide left. He seems to be wanting to work that area. Now I think there's a weakness down there, and I think it's up to the left-sided midfield and the fullback to go and expose that, and to try and get Asamoah into the box as much as we can.
Well, Drummond this time plays it off at Toner. Elsewhere in League 2, Rochdale have scored early at Peterborough. Neither of those sides can get into the playoffs. Glenn May has scored the Rochdale goal. The game's involving Stockport and Bristol Rovers, by the way. Still 1-0. Stockport at Darlington, Crystal Rovers at Hartlepool. And remember, if both of those sides were to win, and Town, heaven forbid, were to lose here, Town would tumble from 6th spot down to 8th spot. A point will do the Town. Is that a dangerous sort of thing to know, Alan?
Yeah,
you know a point would do?
I think it is. I think you'd in a straightforward way, it might have been better if you'd had to win this game. Then you've got no options.
The Langmead does a good job again defensively, shoulder to shoulder with Taylor. Big and strong Langmead, and Davis plays it up towards the halfway line, met by the head of the towering Fenton. Bout of head tennis ensues. Telford, remember, a goal up at Whitton. Lee Moore inside the first minute. You can hear full commentary of that one on DAB Digital, or on our website as well, www.bbc.co.uk/Shropshire. Telford against Whitton with Adam Green and Steve Bowyer. If you would like to stay with me, and I'd love your company here on 96 FM, Shrewsbury Grimsby, we will have all the half-time analysis from Whitton at half-time. Accrington has scored as MK Dons. MK Dons nil, Accrington 1 in this division. Paul Mullin, Town on the attack with Asamoah into the penalty area, down the right-hand side. Good pullback, right across the face of goal. Only needed a touch and it could have been 1-0. Town come again with Tierney. First time ball in from the left-hand side. It's away from Andy Cooke, headed away by Fenton, and Grimsby survived. The first sign of a bit of Asamoah magic.
Did exceptionally well there. Asamoah, and I was just slightly disappointed that Stuart Drummond was watching rather than breaking his neck to get in across that 6-yard box, because it was a little side footer. Had he gone in with really made an attempt to go and get a goal there.
It's a great pullback, wasn't it? Just because any midfield player would surely want.
I think Asamoah is actually a very, very good player left on one-on-one, and once he's in that situation, I think you've got to get your midfield players into the box.
In the Premiership, Newcastle 0, Blackburn Rovers 1 at St James's Park. Benny McCarthy, what a signing he's proved to be for Blackburn Rovers, has scored again. 17 minutes played here. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM, your Shrewsbury Town commentary station. And we're hoping to cheer Town into the playoffs on this farewell to the Football League at Gay Meadow. And so far, it's 0-0. Telford 1 up, though, at Whitton in that winner-takes-all Unibond League final. Town edging forward down this right-hand flank. They forced a throw in. Asamoah thought about taking it quickly. Instead, though, Neil Ashton says, calm down. And he'll try and pick out, I'm sure, Drummond or Hope at the near post. It's always a well-rehearsed tactic, this, from the town. Luke Jones comes short for an option. A little bit of improvisation there from Ashton. Has it back now on the right-hand side. Jones fed the ball, scoops the ball in towards Asamoah. Too close though once again, and it's an easy take for Phil Barnes. Nice bit of quick thinking there though from the...
Well, it was a poor throw-in because it didn't get there on the full. It bounced up around his chest, and as a result they got intercepted when the cross was made.
Grimsby charging forward down the left-hand side with Danny Boschel in the corner flag in the shadow of the Wakeman School. Keeps it neat and tidy. Newey, who was relegated from the league with Cambridge a couple of years ago, now managed by ex-town boss Jimmy Quinn, of course, Cambridge. Good defensive work from Langmead again. He was having his shirt tugged by young Taylor, former youth teamer, given a rare start for the Mariners today, and Shrewsbury will have a free kick. Change of boots required here. Down below from Andy Cooke.
There are also one or two little wet patches we can see that it is cutting out a little bit, and but so far I think they've acquitted themselves well, Shrewsbury.
Yep, important not to fall behind early on, and it would have been a very eerily quiet, I'm sure, around Gay Meadow. Gary Peters we can see to our right in the director's box in a white polo shirt and tracksuit trousers, just making one of many dashes down from the director's box to the dugout. Always very hands-on, Gary Peters. Will want to know what's going on with Andy Cooke and what the conditions are like out there. Doing a job of a ball boy here, Gary Peters. Just telling Luke Jones to slow things down to enable Cooke to be back out there on the park. He really is a hands-on manager. Did you have a similar sort of approach, Alan, when you were in charge here? No,
I let Mr. Barker do all the work when I was here. He was... I had all on playing at that age, and in the very heavy conditions we experienced here most of the time.
But that was hard work though, wasn't it, combining the two, player and managing?
No, we definitely had our lines of responsibility, and Richie was an absolute top-class coach. And he probably, looking back, had more influence on the direction of this club than anybody, I think, over that period.
Richie Parker, who went on to achieve much in the game, had a long spell, I know, at Sheffield Wednesday as assistant manager. Still 0-0 in the other games involving Stockport and Bristol Rovers at the top of League 2. Town have a free kick here, midway inside the Grimsby town half. It's in front of the Riverside. Davis and Ashton stand over it. Davis now swings it in towards the far post, and again, it's a bit disappointing, but it's easily taken by Phil Barnes. 3 balls into the box now, right down the throat to the keeper.
Yes, well... they're trying to play them big to the centre halves, and I think he's always been a keeper that's come for things if he's had time, and his handling's good. Here's a chance.
It's better. Asamoah into Davis on the right-hand side. Looks for Andy Cooke. Golden chance. Can't get the ball out of his feet, and does eventually. It's a soft shot though, and it's easily saved by Barnes, who's an awful defensive slip. Ball ran to Andy Cooke. Took a while to bring the ball under control. In the end, it was a tame finish. Easy save for Barnes. First real chance though.
He actually slipped. He's just changed his boots. And if you look, you can still see the marks actually in the goal mouth where he actually had to go. They tried to place his shot, but it was a great chance.
Really was. Andy Cooke preferred once again today to Michael Symes and Big Leo Fortune West, who are among the subs for the town today. Could do with a goal, Andy Cooke. Found the net 10 times this season, including those double hat-tricks home and away against Stockport County. Hat-trick at Edgeley Park, hat-trick at Gay Meadow against the Hatters on New Year's Day as well. Blown a bit hot and cold at times. Still with injury as well, Andy Cooke. You know what you've got to get with him. And even though it's not going his way, he's always one of those lads who will always give 100% and put himself about.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, very, very experienced, takes up very, very good goal-scoring positions. Did well to pull away with that opportunity.
This is Drummond just inside his own half. Down the line it goes towards the dreadlocked Asamoah. Has support from his strike partner Cooke. Clever ball. Davis now, right-hand side of the area. Edwards at the far post. Looks for him. Edwards misses his kick. It was an awkward ball for David Edwards to take it his stride, in fairness to him. Drummond now keeps the move alive to Tierney. Early ball delivered from the left-hand side. Bit too rash from Tierney, and through it goes once again to the goalkeeper.
Need a little bit of patience here. The boy Drummond seems to be able to find quite a bit of space, but they're not playing through him at the minute, and that's where I think he needs to get on the ball a bit more.
Well, the ball is back with the goalkeeper Shearer. Wasn't the best of back passes, if truth be told, from Langmead. Almost allowed Taylor to sneak in. Shearer did well, was positive, and clears the danger. Cooke now challenged very robustly, and amazingly referee Graham Laws decides that should be a Grimsby free kick. Can't quite see that one.
No, they don't always have the same opinions as your referees, and I thought it was a foul on Cook.
Very much so. Midway point of the first half then at Gay Meadow. BBC Radio Shropshire. The final Football League game at Gay Meadow after 97 years. This old ground has seen so many highs and lows, and today it's watching Shrewsbury. Have to be patient here. Cagey sort of game. It's Town 0, Grimsby 0. Telford, though, lead 1-0 at Whitton. Thanks to Lee Moore, the top scorer, scoring inside 60 seconds. Long way to go there at Wincham Park. A long way to go here at Gay Meadow. Remember, a draw would do for the Town today, even if the two teams chasing them, Stockport and Bristol Rovers, were to win away, and they do have tough games, those two, in the North East. Town would stay in the playoffs by virtue of their superior goal difference. West Ham have scored again against Bolton in the Premiership. Tevez, his second of the afternoon, hammers 2, Bolton 0. Asamoah does well on the right-hand side, gives it to Cook. Asamoah again, next to the corner flag. Challenge comes in from Fenton. I think it's carried for a corner kick here. A chance for Hope and Langmead to make their way forward from the back.
Asamoah seems to be having much more joy down this side, and he's finding a little bit of space, and he's actually combined very, very nicely with Ben Davies on a couple of occasions, and they are starting to look a bit more of a threat now.
Well, Neil Ashton, once of Tranmere Rovers, has spotted up the ball this time. Davies moves away. Hope stood on the edge of the box, waited to come in late. Drummond as well, all ready to go for a late run. Cook a bit closer to goal. Needs a good delivery from Ashton first and foremost. Asamoah offers himself as a short option here.
Big space at the near post. They've left embarking everybody beyond the far post, and there's a big space at the near post.
Well delivered then by Ashton, headed away by Fenton for Grimsby. Mariners still haven't cleared totally. It's on the edge of their 18-yard box. Edwards closes the ball down. It's out of play. Grimsby will have a throw. It's still Town haven't really made their final ball into the box really counted yet.
No, I thought that was a decent cross. I thought if they'd attacked it and got it right, they might have had some benefit from it. But they are starting to find a bit more space.
This is Neil Ashton in the centre circle, battling for the ball. Drummond comes away with it, rides a couple of challenges. Well done again, Stuart Drummond. He started really well for the Town today. Davies tries to hit Andy Cooke down the inside right channel, screws off his right foot though, into touch it goes, and Grimsby will have a throw in the left back position.
Edwards has had a decent 10 minutes. He was a bit slow to start, but he started to make a bit of progress down this right hand side. He's run past the fullbacks a couple of times, and he's now getting into the game a bit more. He's on the end of this one here if they give it to him.
This is Asamoah in the centre circle. Back it goes to Drummond. Clever ball again. Nice switch from Drummond to the left-hand side to Tierney. Ashton back to the halfway line. Tierney, who's given the ball away a bit too often for Gary Peters' liking, I'm sure, so far. And this time he takes a throw down the line towards Edwards. Peterborough 1, Rochdale 1 in League 2. George Boyd has scored for the Posh. Neither of those sides can get into the playoffs. Telford still lead by 1-0 at Whitton in the Unibond League playoff final. Richard Hope has some defensive work to do here. Turns away from danger and plays it into the first couple of rows of the Riverside. Still 0-0 here at Gay Meadow. Did you enjoy the old walk around the old place before the game, Alan? Did you see a few familiar faces?
I like walking like I like arsenic.
Nothing really to say to that. It's filled down the right as they pull the ball back. It's slightly overhit. Town were caught short a bit at the back, and Davis now clears long. No one there to collect it, and Grimsby go all the way back to Phil Barnes. You might not like walking, but was it nice to walk around the old ground?
Yes, it was lovely to see. And to be fair, I thought everybody appreciated all the players, not just the really well-known ones. But I mean, I sat on the bus with somebody who played here in 1946 and is the oldest player that's
Arthur Hughes from
still
Hanover.
alive. Yes, very interesting young man. But he'd finished before they actually got into the league. Sammy Crooks brought them into the league, I think, in 1950, and his first two signings, I think, could have been two of Derby County's FA Cup side.
Oh, Jimmy Bullion
and Jack Stamps. I think Jack Stamps came as well for a while.
Two Derby legends, and of course you did a lot at Derby County as well. Were you at the farewell to the baseball ground a few years ago?
No, I was actually managing at the time somebody, I can't remember who.
Well, Asamoah could be in here. Ball bouncing in the Grimsby area. Asamoah tries to plough his way through, and eventually it bounces up, hits his hand. Don't think there was any great intent. No. But it was clearly handball. Free kick to Grimsby.
Great body strength there. You push the centre half off. I do feel that Shrewsbury are coming more into the game, and I can see them getting a couple of chances in the next quarter now.
0-0 still as I look around the Gay Meadow. Bury 1, Mansfield 0 in League Two. Colin Woodthorpe has scored for the Shakers. Not a spare seat to be had. Look around the stands, and many of the faces I've been seeing here for the last 15-20 years in their usual seats. It's that sort of club, isn't it? Shrewsbury Town, of course, a day to remember for many people. Supporters who have sadly moved on, and as they look around the place for one last time in the Football League. As Grimsby come forward, shot comes in from Toner, well blocked by young Luke Jones, and Grimsby have a throw, taken quickly by Newey. Infield it goes, Newey down the line now, well read again by young Jones, and Drummond with a good out ball up towards Cooke. Good close control from the local boy, gives the ball away this time though. Grimsby come again, nice play, this is to be Taylor, great chance, Taylor gets his shot in, could be a goal there, it's over the line and Grimsby have scored, and it's Taylor, and Town were unable to clear the ball off the line. Langmead backpedaling, and Grimsby fancy a bit of party pooping here today perhaps. They have scored here. It was a tame shot, but it bobbles over the line at the Wakeman end. Taylor on 28 and a half minutes. It's Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 1.
Very, very disappointing goal. It started with Ben Davies going in to try and deal with a ball in the midfield, which should have been Edwards. Edwards never smelt the danger and got in behind to help the back four out. It was a nice little run by Taylor, and although the shot had no power whatsoever, Langmead couldn't sort his feet out. But it's been a bit of a habit here, isn't it, of going one down and having to fight all the way. So very, very disappointing.
Very disappointing. Big test for the Town. Gary Peters has been urging the supporters all week that even if Town were to fall behind, they just have to keep the faith and keep the belief that Shrewsbury Town can still come good here. I'm sure those results, the scoreline here, will soon be filtering through to the followers of Stockport and Bristol Rovers, who are trying to play catch-up on the Town in the race to end the season in the top 7, and they will take heart from that, I'm sure, Stockport and Bristol Rovers.
Yes, yeah, that's really their first effort on goal.
It was such a soft shot, it took an age to trickle over the line. Langmead thought he might clear, but he was wrong-footed in the end. He ended up on the floor in the back of the Wakeman end net, along sadly with the match ball. Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 1. Andy Taylor. Let's hope from a Town point of view that young Taylor does not go into the record books as the last man to score a Football League goal here at Gay Meadow after 97 years. Telford 1 up at Whitton, remember. Lee Moore early on. Town, though, a goal down. Andy Taylor on 29 minutes. Peterborough have scored against in their game against Rochdale. Peterborough 2, Rochdale 1 in League 2. Boyd again in that game. Town free kick here. Big test for them here, as they have a free kick in the centre circle, taken by the left foot of Neil Ashton towards Drummond, beaten in the air, cleared only as far as Tierney. Shot is charged down. Well read by Luke Jones this time. Party's gone a bit flat for the time being. A long way to go, and Town, remember, have been the comeback kings in League 2 this season. They will have to do it again. As Taylor, the goal scorer, comes down the left-hand side. Langmead big and strong again. Great defending. Plays it off the Grimsby player, and Shrewsbury will have a throw. Important, I suppose, ideally, they can get back on terms before half-time.
Yes, I mean, they're well in the game. It's not as if they're not in the game, and I think if we can just release Asamoah, then I think he'll create enough.
Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 1. Elsewhere, Darlington and Stockport and Hartlepool against Bristol Rovers 0-0. If the scores were to stay like this at the end, then Town would still end up in the playoffs. Wigan 0, Middlesbrough 1 in the Premiership. Mark Viduka, the Australian, not going well for Wigan, is it? West Ham are now 3 up against Bolton. Mark Noble adding to the brace by Tevez. So West Ham could be on for the great escape perhaps in the top flight. Town 1-0 down. Is Shearer, the goalkeeper, hammers the ball long downfield, bounces out of play, and Grimsby Town will have a goal kick. The Mariners, lower mid-table, they were flirting with relegation at one stage this season, but Alan Buckley, shrewd old manager, knows the game inside out, went back to Blundell Park, and he's turned things around.
Yes, I just wonder whether you felt the keeper might have made the decision up for the player there, whether if he'd held his ground he would have been a lot more difficult. He came out very, very quickly.
Yep, really did commit himself.
And I think he made the player's decision up for him.
I know it's easy from here, but it was such a powder puff shot. Had he not been so tight on the player, it would have been an easy save for Scott.
On another day, Kelvin Langmead would have sorted his feet out and got the ball away, I'm sure.
Town 1-0 down here then. Telford 1 up though at Whitton. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM. Still all goalless, the games involving Lincoln, Stockport and Bristol Rovers, as Grimsby go back to the goalkeeper Barnes, gives it to the fullback Newey here. Grimsby stroking the ball around their 18-yard box. Poor ball back to Barnes. Edwards almost sneaked in, but Grimsby clear now into Town territory. Langmead in the right back position. Strong challenge comes in from Jones, the former Tranmere player. Came off Langmead last, says referee Graham Laws, and Grimsby will have a throw-in on its left-hand side. Good news from elsewhere. Hallelujah. Hartlepool 1, Bristol Rovers 0. That is some welcome good news for the Town when they're losing. Any help gratefully received from around the country on a day like this. So the Town did lose here today. If results went their way elsewhere, they would still be in the playoffs. But Gary Peters will want the momentum, make no bones about it, of going into the playoffs, if they are to get there, with a good win under their belt.
They're very, very fortunate to be one down here. But the boy Taylor suddenly come alive a lot. We never saw him in the first quarter of an hour, and since he's got the goal, they have settled down a little bit, Grimsby, and are playing with a bit more confidence now.
Riversiders trying to make themselves heard and lift the class of 2007, who trail here by 1-0. Andy Taylor on 29 minutes, 12 minutes to play in this first half. BBC Radio Shropshire, an extended Shropshire United today with James Bond. We've been with you since 1 o'clock here on the banks of the Severn, and now myself, Stuart Dunn, joined by the Town legend Alan Durbin, former player manager, ex-Welsh international as well, bringing you all of the action on Shrewsbury against Grimsby. How many Welsh caps did you end up with in the end, Alan?
27.
27?
Yes, had a very disappointing first one, 180,000 at the Maracanã in Brazil.
How was your debut? It's not a bad place to make your international debut. Did you win?
No, we lost. I don't think anybody won in Brazil in those days.
Who was playing? Was Pelé in the
No,
Brazil
he was
side
injured. He broke his arm the day before.
Didn't want to play against you, obviously.
No.
Trying to make excuses.
I actually have played against him, but it was a game of tennis in Spain.
We'll get that story and maybe during the course of the afternoon, during a quiet moment. Town 1-0 down. Let's hope there aren't too many quiet moments. In this division, Barnet 0, Wickham 1. Scott McLeish, but Wickham blew their playoff chances many weeks ago. They were in a great position as Town take a long throw with Ashton down the left-hand side, headed away from the edge of the box, and Town edging forward. Correction to an earlier score we gave you. It's Bury 0, Mansfield 1. Not that it really matters, because those sides are in the lower half of the League 2 table, and they're going nowhere fast. Let's hope Town are going somewhere, and quickly too. They are 1-0 down though. They have a throw, advanced position on the left-hand side as they play towards the station end. Town fans packed in all four sides of Gay Meadow today. Ashton, long throw, flicked on by Drummond. Asamoah pounces, and the keeper Barnes comes again. He's been very assured so far.
He has. He's come for balls, and he's shown a lot of confidence and used good body weight, and his handling's been superb.
Barnes clears downfield then, and his grey goalkeeping top and black shorts. Ball bounces away of the dangerous Jones. Plays it out to this near side towards Toner. Comes inside the challenge of Luke Jones. Still has it, Toner. Good perseverance from Luke Jones. Grimsby keep the ball though on the right hand side as they build neatly. The Mariners always have been a good footballing side under Alan Buckley. This time they slightly overplay, and Shrewsbury will have a throw in the left back position. Mark Tierney in front of the Riverside, the former Oldham player, throws it straight onto the head of a Grimsby player, Bennett this time, and Town still really looking to settle. They haven't played their best footballers yet. They've been in this game, make no bones about that one, but they haven't really carved out too many chances. Just that one opening for Andy Cooke, when he seemed to lose his footing at the vital moment, and Barnes, the Grimsby keeper, made a comfortable save. The ball is back with Scott Shearer, the Shrewsbury goalkeeper, with that stock of dark hair, his green goalkeeping top and black shorts. Bounces the ball once, and then he will look upfield. He will clear with that trusty left foot of his. Stockport have scored at Darlington. That's bad news, isn't it, for the Town? Stockport, who dropped out of the top 7 last week to be replaced by Bristol Rovers, but they are one up at Darlington. As it stands though, Town are still in the top 7 because Bristol Rovers are losing at Hartlepool, who are chasing the title today. Hartlepool and Walsall going head to head for the accolade of League 2 champions for this season. Town free kick here. Would be great, wouldn't it, if they could get the old place jumping with an equaliser before half-time. Useful position, this.
We need to get a head of steam on. At the minute, we're not really exciting the crowd at all, and I think that more than anything. If we could get a goal here, then I think you could see a lot more coming from the Town. But at the minute, it's a little bit flat.
Free kick then, taken by Ashton. Barnes comes again, drops the ball this time, but he got lucky, bounced up for him. And again, it's all a bit too easy, and it's all very, very quiet around Gay Meadow. Must pass on good wishes, by the way, from all your friends at Gay Meadow to Nellie Ellis, the Shrewsbury stalwart from Shrewsbury, who I know has been sat just in front of the press box here for many, many years. Not too well at the moment, Nellie. Hope you're back well soon, hopefully maybe, for a playoff match. Or how about a trip to Wembley in 3 weeks' time? That would be great. More bad news for Town from Darlington. Darlington have had a man sent off forward for a professional foul, so Darlington down to 10 men, and Stockport chasing a playoff spot, perhaps Town's spot, are 1 up. You would think Stockport would go on and win that game. Never quite that straightforward though, perhaps, in this wonderful game of football. Town 1-0 down here, 7 minutes to play in the first half. Telford though 1 up at Whitton in the Unibond League promotion final. Lee Moore scored inside the opening 60 seconds. Just needs a Town goal or a crunching challenge or a near miss to get the crowd up for this, because that's very quiet.
At the minute, Gary Peters' first thing at half-time will say, please keep the ball out the goalkeeper's hands. You know, there have been too many crosses, they've been too close to him, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's come and collected everything, and I think the forwards really need something that they can have a go at, rather than competing with the goalkeeper in the air all the time.
Well, Davis this time spreads it to his left-hand side to Tierney, forward to Drummond, who has been one of Town's better players so far. Drummond looked for Tierney, ball bounces away from him. It's an error-strewn, nervy display, isn't it, from the Town here so far. Last game of the season here, of course, for the Town in their regular season. Of course, we've been here everywhere they've been, here at Gay Meadow and on the road. Full match commentary of every Town game here on Radio Shropshire this season. Your Shrewsbury Town station. Unrivaled coverage, of course, of the county's top side as they look to get into the playoffs. Of course, we will have the same service next season when we move a mile down the road to Otley Road, and we have a fantastic vantage point. I know James Bond has been down there to check it out. We have a bird's eye view of the action from the main stand at the New Meadow. It's 1-0 to Grimsby though here. They have a throw midway inside the Town half, taken down the line, header won by Hope. Could break for Taylor though. This is awkward, ball bouncing around, almost falls for Jones. Langmead did well, took responsibility as Town were creaking a bit at the back. It's not a convincing performance from the Town. You can tell there's a lot of apprehension about their display so far. Wrexham 0, Boston 1 in League 2. What a scoreline that could be. If it stays that way, Wrexham would go down after all of those years. Macclesfield 1, Notts County 1, so that could be a helping hand elsewhere perhaps for Wrexham. Macclesfield being pegged back, but as results stand, Wrexham would go down. That would be a travesty, wouldn't it, for football in North Wales?
They've had a few problems over the last few years.
This is Asamoah on the attack into the area, right across the face, well cleared by Hegarty. This time Fenton it was in the end. Ball driven in, Fenton did well, puts the ball behind. It's a corner. Do you think if Town are to get back on terms here, it will stem from Asamoah the way it's going?
Yes, he's been our best striker. I really feel that we ought to take a shorter corner here and just play it into the near post, just to keep it away from the keeper's hands.
And Davis and Asamoah standing over this corner kick. Asamoah is there for the short option, congested penalty area. Langmead and Drummond, later rivals into the box again. Davis with it towards the near post. Edwards beaten to it at the near post by Bolland. Ball fired back goalwards. Ashton got a shot in. Didn't quite connect as he would have hoped, and behind it goes. Goal kick to Grimsby Town.
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing really. It was a good, decent quality corner in, and as you went to shoot, most of the shooting players were running out. Instead of fanning out and trying to get a position, if somebody had run wide there, it would have gone straight to them. And but it was actually the two centre halves that were on their way back to their defensive positions, unfortunately.
And Buckley, I can see clearly the Grimsby manager in a red shirt and black shorts, sheltering the sun from his eyes. Sun shining down on the Gay Meadow today. Looks an absolute picture on a day like this. The trees towering over the riverside and the Wakeman end from the Abbey Gardens, but Town are 1-0 down. They're looking to do something about it though. Cook and Asamoah try to work a 1-2. The return was a bit heavy, and out of play it goes, and that will be a throw into Grimsby. No real signs of the front two gelling as yet for the Town.
And the longer the game's going on, more Gary Jones is getting in and starting to win a couple of headers, and him and Taylor are actually looking a decent pair up front now for Grimsby. And
it's Andy Taylor who scored the all-important goal for Grimsby, which means they lead here by 1-0. Asamoah tumbles on the edge of the box, wants a free kick, but the flag was up for offside, so he won't get one, and Grimsby will build again. Plenty of thinking for Gary Peters. Just wonder what he'll say to his players at half-time if they go in 1-0 down as it stands at the moment.
Well, the big thing is not to go 2 down now. At 1 down is not a disaster. I think you can lift the players, and we need to get up ahead of steam, which we haven't had at the moment. We've got too many people who are playing individually and not really getting forward as a team.
The ball's out of play on this near side. Shrewsbury will have a throw-in to be taken by Luke Jones. Only his 4th league start today, Jones, a former Blackburn player. Down the line it goes towards Cooke. Edwards tries to help it on its way. And there's a break in play here. Town will have a free kick just inside the Grimsby half. 90 seconds to play in this first half. As I look to my left, I can see the popular former left-back Tommy Lynch heading down to the sponsors' lounge for some half-time refreshment. Come a long way, Tommy Lynch, to watch this game today from his home in Southern Ireland. But if Town score here, he will miss it, because he's gone down to the sponsors' lounge early at half-time. Neil Ashton then, the ex-Tranmere player, seeking some movement up ahead of him. He'll play it up towards the edge of the box, towards Hope and Drummond. Langmead also in there. Grimsby deal with the initial ball. Davies loops it back into the box, again easily dealt with by the Mariners. Not a great deal of variety about Town set pieces today, and Ashton pumps it through, and it's an easy take once again for Phil Barnes, the Grimsby Town goalkeeper.
Yeah, they try and play these free kicks slow into the box, where they group together and then they try and fan out. But the ball is so straight; it's a very, very difficult one to head directly at goal. You're always looking for somebody who's really alert to the second ball, and at the moment, Shrewsbury haven't got enough people breaking into the box.
It's a free kick they persisted with all season. Gary Peters calls it his fighting ball. The idea is that someone does attack the second ball, and it hasn't worked too often, but he's kept trying to use it week after week. Will it work today? Not a lot of evidence to say it will as yet. Nearly half-time then on Radio Shropshire. Shrewsbury 1-0 down to Grimsby. Telford though 1-up at Whitton as Richard Hope gives a free kick away on the right-hand side. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM, with this thrilling climax to the season for the county's 2 top sides. Going well for Telford so far, not going well for the Town though, but thankfully Bristol Rovers, who could pip Town for a playoff spot, they are losing. Grimsby have a free kick here. On the right-hand side, it will be an in-swinger. Town can ill afford to concede again here.
This is dangerous. There's a space in behind Cooke.
And here's a free kick delivered towards the far post, towards Jones, just away from him. Any sort of positive header, and Town were caught short at the back. Town get lucky there.
Yeah, I thought it was good quality. I've been quite impressed with the left back at Grimsby. He's actually played some good quality into the box from the left-hand side, and even there from the right-hand side with that free kick. It gave Gary Jones a chance of attacking the ball.
Let's get this situation right though. Even though Town are losing, Bristol Rovers have to score twice to deny Town as it stands. Asamoah on the attack into the area, and a free kick is given against him, and that's harsh. Asamoah seemed to shoulder Tom Newey out of the game there, fairly and squarely, but he's been stopped in his tracks, and Grimsby will have a free kick. All of the tight calls seem to be going Grimsby's way.
I think the linesman gave that one, and I don't think the referee gave it. I thought there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. He dwindled on the ball, did the left back, and Asamoah took it off him clearly and beat the centre half and was in on goal.
Free kick to Grimsby then. Into stoppage time we go at the end of this first half on BBC Radio Shropshire. Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 1. Telford 1 up though at Whitton. Plenty to come during the half-time break here on 96 FM. Nick Southall with the fans on the Riverside. We'll be talking to many of them, and we're also off to Whitton very soon to hear the half-time thoughts of Adam Green. It's half-time though at Gay Meadow. Subdued, almost polite, genteel applause from the centre stand regulars as a half-time whistle goes. Shrewsbury 0, Grimsby 1. Is that a bit harsh on the Town, Alan Durban?
Yeah, it's been a very, very tight game, very few chances, and the goal was really bizarre. The more you'll watch that goal again, the more you'll be very, very disappointed that it wasn't cleared by the Town.
It was a soft goal, and Scott Shearer, the goalkeeper, came racing out. He really made the mind up of the Grimsby striker Andy Taylor. The goal came on 29 minutes. Langmead unable to quite succeed with a last-gasp goal line clearance, and Grimsby ahead. Town just haven't caused Grimsby any sort of trouble at all. It's interesting to know how Gary Peters will go about this, because I'm sure he will know that Bristol Rovers are losing, so it's not as if Town have to really go for broke at the moment. As it stands though, Town would be 7th if it stays this way, and they'd be playing MK Dons in the playoffs. Yes,
well I would like Shrewsbury to get the midfield players to get forward a bit more. Ben Davies started quite well early on. combined nicely with Asamoah once or twice and got in on the right hand side, but Drummond is the one that hasn't really got forward, and he's quite good in the air, and he does attack the ball in the box, and I think that's the area where Shrewsbury need to pick up. But all in all,
coming out for the start of the second half. The Town will be attacking the Wakeman end. It's the final 45 minutes of league action here at the Gay Meadow. You're listening to BBC Radio Shropshire, Shrewsbury Town's commentary station. Our summariser this afternoon is former player manager Alan Durbin, former Welsh international too. We'll hear about him playing tennis with Pele, I hope, in the next 45 minutes as well. Our match commentator, as always, Stuart Dunn.
Thank you, James. Here we go then. Massive 45 minutes in Town's season, Town's history perhaps you could even say. They will not want to bow out 97 years at Gay Meadow with a Football League defeat. Of that, there is no doubt. But they are 1-0 down at the moment. They're playing towards the Wakeman end, which is the end of the ground they always like to play towards in the second half. And the Town fans are just waiting for something to get excited about. As I look to my left, some more legends of years gone by. Paul Edwards, Jake King, Kevin Seabury, Peter Wilding, all taking their seats. Steve Biggins as well in the sponsors enclosure. Stephen Brizovic and Ken Mulhern, two fine keepers. Carlton Leonard behind him. And let's hope Town produce a performance worthy of so many club legends in this second half. Here we are then, as Town sweep the ball out to this near side. Drummond towards Cooke, keeps the ball in. No changes made by either manager, by the way, at half time. Here's Andy Cooke. Cooke cuts inside, thinks about the shot. Sees it hit from Cooke, it's just wide. A whisker wide. Cut inside from the left-hand side. Hit his shot well, bounced a couple of times, and just wide at the Wakeman end.
Asamoah and Cooke combined really nicely there, and I think it's just the start that Shrewsbury wanted, just to get this crowd going.
Sure, that's what Gary Peters has been saying. Just get the tempo going, put Grimsby under pressure, because it's been so easy for the Mariners in the first half.
Well, it has. I'm trying to think. I think Buckley must have been under Brian Clough for a while at Notts Forest, because I see little things in the play where he likes to get the ball into feet, and he also did very well for a little while at Walsall as manager, didn't he?
He did. As Town look to make pressure down the right-hand side. They forced a throw-in an advanced position. Ben Davies thinks about taking it quickly. Neil Ashton, though, comes over, slows things down, and he will look for Messrs Drummond and the skipper Hope at the near post. As Town play towards the Wakeman end, some fans still taking their seats as the second half gets underway. Those in the director's box, the VIP guests amongst them. As the long throw comes in from Neil Ashton towards Drummond. Doesn't really get off the ground this time, Drummond. Edwards will keep the ball alive for the Town. Forced ahead in the wrong direction. Scoops the ball forward. Richard Hope popping up almost as a right winger here. But it's shielded towards the corner flag by Till. And Grimsby will have a throw. Didn't quite carry for a goal kick. Let's take us through the sides again. Town 4-4-2 today. Shearer the goalkeeper. Back four, Jones, Hope, Langmead and Tierney. In midfield, Davis, Edwards, Drummond and Ashton. And up front, Cooke and Asamoah. Asamoah now has the ball. Back to goal, edge of the box. Tumbles. Wants a free kick. Referee Graham Laws disagrees. Davis wins the ball back. Edwards now takes charge. Dipping volley from Drummond. Didn't really hit it through. And it flies well wide in the end, but encouraging signs at least.
Yeah, I think we started well. I think the kick-off was obviously well planned, and it was a good header by Cooke, who eventually got on to Asamoah's pass. And I think there's I don't think any teacups have been thrown in there, but obviously he's had a word with them, and they do look as if they're a lot more committed to getting forward at the minute.
This is the Grimsby team, by the way. Phil Barnes the keeper, defenders John McDermott, Ryan Bennett, Nick Fenton and Tom Newey. In midfield, Peter Till, Danny Boschel, Paul Bolland and Kieran Toner. And up front, Gary Jones, partnered by the goal scorer Andy Taylor, who's a fairly tame 29th minute effort, continues to divide these two sides. Grimsby 1 up here on BBC Radio Shropshire. The ball is back with the Town goalkeeper, Scott Shearer. Common discussion I had with many fans at half-time. They would like to see Fortune West sent on at some stage, because he does give Town a different option, I suppose, up front.
Yeah, I think they haven't done that badly, the Town. I don't think it's not as if they're playing exceptionally badly, and I think it's not I don't like taking people off at half-time without giving them a 10 minutes, quarter of an hour to see if they can perhaps mend their ways in the second half. And I think half an hour, if he gets on for a good half an hour if it's needed, then I'm sure he'll do his part.
Well, the way it stands, Shrewsbury Town are still en route for the playoffs. Even if they are to be beaten here by Grimsby, there's still plenty of time for them to turn things round here on the banks of the Severn. Bristol Rovers elsewhere have to score twice. A title-chasing Hartlepool to deny Town a place in the top 7 and a first appearance in the end of season Football League playoffs. This is Edwards, looks for Ashton, left hand side of the box, tries to ride the challenge of McDermott. Got a fortunate bounce there, Ashton, and the Town fans trying to crank up the noise here to really make it an atmospheric Gay Meadow. Richard Hope comes towards the near post. Throw in is a couple of yards from the corner flag. Come on you Blues, I can hear the Town terrace anthem being chanted as Ashton takes a throw, bounces away from Drummond. Always seems to be a black and white shirt on the end of every Town ball into the box at the moment. Could do with varying it up perhaps at times. They'll try again here with Ashton 20 yards from goal on the left hand side, will hurl the ball into the box once again. Hope wants it this time. He's boxed in though. Ashton goes for Drummond instead, beaten in the air, cleared only as far as Tierney. Space for Ashton on the overlap. Tierney finds him, Ashton does well, clever flick. Asamoah will pick up the ball, heads towards the corner flag. Clever skill from Asamoah. Ashton tries to win a corner and he does win a corner.
Yeah, good play again with the left back, and good play by Asamoah, and now they've got a little bit of head of steam on. Now just keep the pressure on and I'm sure something will come.
Corner then at the Wakeman end. It's become the Town cop almost of Gay Meadow. Of course on much smaller proportions down the years. It's where Town always like to play towards in the second half, and Davies now takes his corner towards the far post. Barnes comes again, and again like taking cherries for the keeper.
Absolute disaster at that stage to be on top so much, and one thing Peters would have said at half-time was keep the ball out of the keeper's hands on crosses. But Shrewsbury don't really get anybody in at the near post. They're always looking for the two big centre halves at the back post.
It's ironic, their goal at Hereford last weekend came from a near post header. Davies took it, Drummond made the run and scored, and today we haven't seen that same combination link as yet. I suppose Grimsby have done their homework and know what to expect from Town from set pieces, and they haven't given Town too many glimmers of goal so far. 51 minutes played. Town 1-0 down here against Grimsby in the final Football League game to be played at Gay Meadow, the club's home of 97 years. Better news for Telford though. They are closing in on promotion to Conference North. They are 1 up at Witton Albion in the Unibond League promotion final. Lee Moore scored in the opening minute of that game. So mixed fortunes for the county's big two. Grimsby have it just inside the Town half with Jones. Useful hold-up play. Till now, the former Birmingham player, invites McDermott, the long-serving McDermott, to come forward from right back. 700th league appearance for Grimsby today for McDermott. And this time Grimsby are a bit too intricate. And Martini, the left back, leads the charge. He's led the charge from the left to the right-hand side. Davies carries the ball over the halfway line, nudges it forward. Andy Cooke has it. Tierney and Asamoah in the middle. As the ball's delivered towards the near post, bounces off the defender Bennett, and Town have another corner, and the fans doing their best to lift the team.
Yeah, Tierney did really well there to play the ball wide and carried on running like a centre forward, and actually got into the centre forward's position, and Town have started really well, and I just hope they can keep this momentum up now, and perhaps they can get some reward for what has been a very, very good start this half.
Well, Neil Ashton will take this corner. He's standing under where there used to be a wonderful old scoreboard. All the letters of the alphabet of the half-time scores would be filled in. That's gone as Ashton takes the corner towards Hope. Glancing header comes off Drummond. Desperate defending this time from Grimsby. And Fenton tries to complete the clearance. The ball is still in play with Langmead on the left-hand side. He goes down. He wants a free kick. Referee Graham Law stops the game. Which way is he given this though? Langmead's gone down. It's hard to tell which way he's decided this should be. I think he's given Town a free kick here.
If he has, he certainly didn't blow at the time. That was a much, much better corner, flatter into the near post, and we did get a head on it somewhere, and they were very fortunate to survive there, Grimsby.
I think the fact Langmead went down, so he was injured, has brought Town this free kick. It's a couple of yards in from the corner flag. Ben Davies stood in front of the Wakeman School.
Yes.
What can he deliver this time? It's towards the far post. Doesn't quite reach Hope. Well defended again.
Good movement again, but he didn't wait for Langley to get on his run, and he played it a little bit too early, and Langmead was on his heels, unfortunately.
Edwards now clips it down the right-hand side, not the required accuracy, and Grimsby will have a throw in the left-back position. Darlington 0, Stockport County 2. David Poole with a second for County. So County look as though they will end the season in the playoffs. The way it's going, they are 2-0 up in the northeast. Darlington down to 10 men as well, but importantly, crucially, Crystal Rovers, the team who could really ruin Town's party here today, they are 1-0 down at title chasing Hartlepool United. Come on Hartlepool. I'm sure many Town fans will be saying around Gay Meadow today. Really would be deflating, wouldn't it, if a day which has been so looked forward to would end on such a low. Town have at least started this second half more positively. Andy Cooke has gone close with a shot from the edge of the box. Gary Peters, I can see, though, in deep discussion with the baseball-capped John McMahon, his number 2 down below. Just wonder whether he's toying with the idea of a change.
Yeah, he'll be looking at his watch and he'll be looking to see how many minutes are left. But I wouldn't touch anything at the minute because they're actually doing quite well. The one who's been very, very disappointing in this last 10 minutes has been Edwards, who really hasn't got into the game, hasn't dominated and not made any impact, despite having a very good 10 minutes first half.
You're still on friendly terms with your old international colleague John Toshak? Do you still speak to him? And maybe
he spent too much time in Spain for me. I didn't see very much of him when he was out there. But I played his first couple of internationals. I was in the side at that stage.
Well, John Toshak has taken a look at Dave Edwards in recent weeks. I know he was at Edgar Street, Hereford, last week, but he has left Edwards out of his Welsh squad for the forthcoming double-header against New Zealand at Wrexham. We also play the Czech Republic as well, so Edwards will have to bide his time. Big roar from the Town fans here because Leo Fortune West is just warming up. Chris Humphrey, the young winger as well, and also the 13-goal top scorer Michael Symes. Always a good tactic, I suppose, from a manager, as Luke Jones gives away a corner to get the subs warming up because the lads on the park know they have to do it. Well,
the only problem is if you might sometimes get your mind off what you're doing by looking over to see whether you're going to get the hook or not, because it's it's only 10 minutes into this half and they've done quite well, but this is a corner for Grimsby.
Grimsby corner then at the station end, headed away well by Cook at the near post. Grimsby play it nicely though on the left hand side. It's a Till, high hanging ball towards the far post, headed away by the shaven headed Tierney. Edwards now on the charge, really armed out of it though this time by the midfield player Till. And Grimsby will have a throw. Could do with seeing a bit more of Dave Edwards. Loves the club, used to stand on the terraces from the age of 8 years on. Stand on the riverside with his dad and his brother Chris, who still plays locally for Hanwood. And he would love to be on a winning Town side today as the ball is through to the goalkeeper, Scott Shearer. Walsall could be on for the title. They are 1 up at Swindon. 1-0 down rather. Swindon 1, Walsall 0. And in the same division, Bury 1, Mansfield 1. But the way it's going, Swindon will be coming up automatically along with Hartlepool and Walsall. It will be MK Dons definitely in the playoffs. This is Drummond on the attack, right hand side. Good ball to Andy Cooke. His ball into the box is charged down by the left back. Grimsby making heavy weather of clearing the danger here. Drummond doing his best to box them in. Good determination from Drummond. Out of nothing, he's won Shrewsbury a throw.
Yeah, he's playing a little bit further forward this half, and he's got into the box a couple of times, and all of a sudden Shrewsbury are getting bodies into the box and looking far more certainly much better than they do in the first half.
Town on the attack with Ashton. Good ball in towards Edwards. Heads it back. No one there on the second ball. No one prepared to gamble. Town come again with Drummond. It's with Ashton on the right hand side. Ashton shoots. It's high and it's wide. But into the Wakeman end it goes. But better from Town. The signs are there that something might be about to happen.
Good quality again from Drummond. When Drummond gets involved, Shrewsbury do look far more dangerous. And he's getting into the game a little bit more now. If we could see a bit more from Edwards as well, then I think they would be in a much better state.
Telford still lead by 1-0 at Whitton, and they've just had a goal disallowed actually, so it could have been even better in this division. League 2, Barnet have equalised against Wickham, the team who blew their playoff chances a few weeks ago. Dean Sinclair has equalised with Barnet. Town still 1-0 down here. Bad news from the northeast. Hartlepool have been pegged back. Bristol Rovers have scored. Hartlepool 1, Bristol Rovers 1. Richard Walker from the penalty spot. So if Rovers were to score again, Town would plummet from 6th down to 8th. Town just have to score basically, and at least put their destiny back in their own hands. Fortune West is about to come on here.
Yes, I think the crowd need a lift, because if that scoreline gets...
It's Cook on the volley. Doesn't really connect. Could bounce towards Asamoah. And Grimsby on the edge of their 6-yard box. Clear. Asamoah though, once again, shapes up against McDermott. McDermott, the stalwart, does well. Getting tied to Asamoah. Town win a corner. I'm sure that score is reverberating around Gay Meadow from Hartlepool.
Yes, we were hoping it might be Hartlepool 2 and Bristol Rovers 0. But unfortunately it's not.
Well, Town about to send on Big Fortune West. Wrexham have equalised against Boston at the wrong end of the table. Could be a massive goal for Wrexham. Valentine from the penalty spot. Davis with the corner. Richard Hope's header. It's just wide. Met it well there. Good delivery from Davis. Hope with his forehead. And he's put it just the wrong side of the post.
Good quality corner again. Langmead, this is about third or fourth corner this half, and Langmead had a good chance for the header, but it just went over the angle of the crossbar and the post. And Shrewsbury now are bringing Fortune West on. It'll be very interesting who he takes off.
Well, we haven't seen an awful lot of Leo Fortune West. I just wonder whether Gary Peters has heard himself that Bristol Rovers have scored at Hartlepool, and he knows that Town ideally have to get on with winning this game. Richard Hope, the captain, is coming off. He'll be really disappointed. Standing ovation for Richard Hope, popular figure here. He's the victim here of a tactical switzer. And Fortune West comes on. Centre forward for centre half.
Well, I'm wondering who will go into the back four here.
But it's Mark Tierney. He's going to play at centre half with Langmead. And Neil Ashton, who's been playing on the left-hand side of midfield, is going to play left back. And it seems as though Town are playing 4-3-3 with Fortune West flanked either side by Asamoah and Cooke. Town really having to go for it.
Well, I think it's a good move. The only danger I see is that with Gary Jones being so good in the air, if they get into this game and get a few more crosses in, Town are going to be in trouble at the back. But counteracting that, playing three up at this stage, I think they've got to go for it, or they've got to get something out of it.
Well, the nerves are jangling around Gay Meadow. As things stand, Town are one Bristol Rovers goal away from blowing it and falling out of the playoff spots here. 1-0 down here against Grimsby Town. An hour played. Telford won up though in the Unibond League promotion decider at Whitton. Lee Moore in the first minute. Grimsby coming forward here. Ball's on the edge of the station end penalty area. Shot is charged down. Edwards unable to clear. It's collected by the goal scorer Taylor on this right hand side. Ashton, who's now dropped back to left back, does well, shows him nowhere to go, and Shrewsbury Town will have a throw in the left back position. In this division, Peterborough have scored again against Rochdale, 3-1 to Darren Ferguson's Posh in that match at London Road. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM, an hour played at Gay Meadow in this final Football League game at Gay Meadow. We thought it was an 8,000 sellout here today. The attendance, though, 7,782, so not quite a full house. 345 Grimsby fans here, and the Grimsby, the party poopers as things stand. Town need a goal to calm a few nerves, my own included, I must admit. It's with Asamoah, 10 yards inside the Grimsby half, has support from Drummond. Trays the ball down this left-hand side towards Cooke, who will just about keep it in. Decent ball in towards the far post. Great composure from the defender, Newey. Davies goes down, wants a penalty. What's he given here? He's given a penalty. He's given a penalty. Davies has gone down, heading away from goal on the right-hand side. I'm not complaining, but I've got to say, Alan Durban, that seems a very soft penalty for Town to be given.
Comparatively soft, I would have thought. I thought Cooke had a great run, crossed the ball with his left foot, got a slight deflection, but Smith did well to get in front of the full-back, and although the linesman didn't flag, the referee felt it was a penalty, and good luck to him.
But it's Ben Davies is going to take a massive penalty in the history of Shrewsbury Town Football Club. He started the season as the club's penalty taker. Then he gave the job up after missing a couple of penalties. How's your nerve, Ben Davies? It's at the Wakeman end. Town are 1-0 down, and Davies, quite frankly, has to score to calm some nerves all around Gay Meadow. Davies then, right-footed, score! Ben Davies! Sets Barnes the wrong way. Davies celebrates 12 goals for the season, and he won't score a more important one. The Gay Meadow comes alive.
Yes,
62 minutes played. Shrewsbury 1, Grimsby 1.
Yeah, that should get everybody going. All in the eyes. He looked as if he was going to play it to the left of the goalkeeper. Rolled it nicely in the other corner. Very, very cool. And what a relief.
Great test of Bottle there, isn't it? It's all about Bottle. Davies knows what a crucial kick that is.
Yes, well, I think everybody in the ground knew what a crucial kick it was, and especially with the Bristol Rovers equaliser coming, we were treading on very, very thin ice.
Well, Bristol Rovers equalised at Hartlepool came from the penalty spot. Richard Walker scored it, and now Ben Davies does the same here at Gay Meadow. And he did well to win it because he was going nowhere, and he's quite cute in those situations, Davies.
He does
go down fairly easy at times.
Did very well to get his body in. And I thought he did well. I thought he worked hard. I thought he read the situation well. And the goal scorer has come off. Taylor has come off for Grimsby. And I think it's Peter Bow that has come on. Don't know him. Looks to be a very young lad who obviously will have loads of enthusiasm and want to run about.
He's been a good player, young Bow, for Grimsby this season. Scored a few goals for them and he's come on to replace a fellow teenager. Ball on for Taylor. Alan Buckley makes his first change. 64 minutes played. It's lit the fuse around Gay Meadow. It was all a bit flat and edgy and nervy, and now Town have equalised as Grimsby come forward down the right hand side with the fresh legs of Ball. Ball played into the box from Till. Town just have to be strong at the back here. Fortune West first touch, can't keep it in as I hear news of an MK Dons goal. MK Dons 1, Accrington 1. Keith Andrews, a former Wolves player, from the penalty spot. The division's gone penalty mad, it would seem. And listen to the Meadow now in full voice.
Langmead won a very, very good header then. There was a dangerous ball into the box, and there he was again, the player of the year, with a lovely, wonderful clearance.
Well, Town just have to be switched on defensively here. Cannot afford to get themselves too carried away. Of course, the picture is looking much more rosier than it did a couple of minutes ago, but there's still work for Town to do. They have been the comeback kings in this division. In recent weeks alone, they've come from behind to beat Peterborough, MK Dons and Accrington Stanley here. And a repeat performance would go down perfectly with Gary Peters and his side today. Shrewsbury 1, Grimsby 1, BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM. Telford have had another goal disallowed at Whitton. 1-0 they still lead, so nerves still jangling there for the Bucks. It stays as it is though. Telford will be up for the second time in 3 seasons. It's all getting so exciting. Fortune West back to goal, does well, uses all his experience, wins Town a free kick there.
Yeah, just his side, he's backing in. The referee doesn't know whether he's actually backing in and fouling or whether the centre half's putting his arms around him. But I thought it was a free kick, and it's a chance here. It's about 8 yards outside the box. So the referee decided it's 10 now, so he's taking the ball back a little bit, and it's a chance. It's a chance. They've got a good wall. They've got the wall up early, Grimsby, and I think they're discussing who's going to take this one.
I think Davis or Asamoah will have a go here. Lincoln have scored against Chester, 1-0 to the Imps. Mark Stallard, who did nothing at Gay Meadow really for the much part, he scored for Lincoln, so they're looking good for the playoffs. Stockport are 3 up at Darlington, so they look good for the playoffs as well. Liam Dickinson, Town free kick then, 25 yards out, central position. Ashton and Davis look the favourites to have a go here. Drummond and Edwards also standing over the ball. Davis high on confidence though. It will be Ashton with it. It's Davis in the end, scuffs it, takes a deflection. Will it carry for a corner? Yes, it will. One for the training ground, a bit over intricate, didn't really work, but at least Town got a goal.
No, at least they're on top, and the game's being played in the Grimsby half, and that's exactly what we all wanted at half time. And anything can happen, and if we can just keep this ball out the goalkeeper's hand. The goalkeeper hasn't come for the last 2, and I think it's because he missed the corner just after half time.
Davis corner towards the near post, headed for Drummond, just wide. Did Barnes get a touch? I think he did. Drummond stooped low, got his head to it, and Barnes makes a big save. It's another corner.
Yes, corner was scuffed very, very low, but it was missed at the near post by the defender, and it was a chance. And all of a sudden, we've got a head of steam on.
And the fans have found their voices. It really is an atmospheric ground on days like this. Corner delivered by Davis, cleared pretty as far as Neil Ashton. Scuffs his shot, cleared again by Grimsby. Everton have scored against Portsmouth in the Premiership. Mikel Arteta, the classy Spaniard, has scored from the penalty spot. It's a day for penalties, it would seem. 1-1 here. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM. Stuart Durnan, the former Town player, manager, and Wales international Alan Durbin alongside me in the commentary box here today on James Bond, Shropshire United. Telford 1 up at Whitton in the Unibond League, thanks to that Lee Moore goal. Watford are already down in the Premiership, but they are 1 up at Reading today. There'll be a turn up there as Grimsby come forward down the right. Turney cuts off the supply, but only at the expense of a corner. And Town now minus Hope at the back, who's been sacrificed for Fortune West to come on. And Grimsby have a corner here. Fortune West, though, is a very useful man to have on the park, because does a super job defensively for the team.
Yeah, he's picked up Gary Jones here, who is the main threat at the near post. So I'm hoping we can clear this corner comfortably.
Grimsby corner then, dinked in, too high for Fortune West. Mackenzie, Shearer rather, comes through a crowd of players, throws his right fist at it, and it'll be another corner to Grimsby. Hush almost descends on the Gay Meadow as Grimsby take this corner. They know it's vital, the Town fans, that Grimsby don't score here. Corner pull back, it's flicked on, his fist flicked wide. How close was that?
It was a good
little
head.
Toe end. I think it was Bohr in the end who got defensive touches, goal kick.
Good header with the centre half, and he got it in, and Bohr got a toe poke to it, but he was facing the wrong way, and he just went past it. Was very, very similar to Drummond's chance a couple of minutes ago. Just went past the post.
1-1. We have a game on our hands at Gay Meadow. Ben Davies with the equaliser from a soft penalty, I have to say, on 62 minutes. I wonder whether Town would have got that decision had this game been at Blundell Park and not Gay Meadow.
What are you trying to imply?
I'm not complaining. He's a fine man, Graham Lewis. It was a definite penalty, of course it was. And Ben Davies did really well.
He's from the northeast. He wants those Darlington and Hartlepool up there, doesn't he?
I'm sure. Long clearance towards Fortune West, who's beaten in the air this time by Fenton. Rochdale have pulled one back at Peterborough. 3-2. Chris Dagnall, Peterborough lead. Chris Dagnall with a Rochdale goal. Midway point of the second half. Town playing towards the Wakeman end. Gorgeous day weather-wise on the banks of the Severn. Couldn't have picked it any better. The sun shining as the throw comes into the box towards Fortune West. Doesn't quite reach him. Davis, the goal scorer, nudges the ball out to the right-hand side. Ashton thinks about whipping it in first time, and he slows it down and gives the ball away. Drummond, though, does well. Good strong play for the midfield player. Ashton charging forward, has to check back onto his left foot and wins a corner. All very left-footed there, Ashton.
Yeah, should really have tried to get it in with his right. The bad ball with his right would have been better than what happened. But they've got a corner, and but he was in a very, very good position just outside box on the right-hand side.
Everton have scored again against Portsmouth in the Premiership. Yobo, the defender, 2-0 to Everton at Goodison. Town corner here. Ashton scored from a corner from this side
got 2
at the Meadow against Accrington a few weeks ago.
2-1 out down the outside. That is, you just keep that ball on that right wing.
Ashton delivers then towards Drummond. Vital touch from Fenton for Grimsby. Had he not got in the way there, Drummond would have had a free header. This is better from the Town. Into the last 20 minutes. BBC Radio Shropshire. It's 1-1. As things stand, Town would be playing Lincoln in the playoffs, which I think would be more preferable than playing MK Dons over 2 legs.
Yes, but there's 20 minutes to go yet, and you know it changed last week with Man United and Chelsea. Anything can happen.
Town throw then. Next to the corner flag, Ashton, who's got through a lot of hard work today, takes it towards Fortune West, who's always a nuisance. Grimsby clear, only as far as Langmead. Good touch, good hit. Always rising, over the top it goes. But a decent volley from Kelvin Langmead. But as it stands, and there could be a lot to change still here, in the last 20 minutes, the game's up and down the country. Town will be playing Lincoln with the first leg here at Gay Meadow next Saturday tea time. A 5:15 kick-off. But there could be all sorts of changes, as Alan Durbin alongside me was just pointing out. Never say never. There could be all sorts of tied finishes here. And if Bristol Rovers were to score again at Hartlepool, it really would be an edgy conclusion. Town, can they do themselves a power of good here by coming from behind to take the lead? Asamoah gives it to Ashton on the left-hand side. Decent looking ball, cleared initially. Asamoah thought about going forward, left it for Tierney, and Jones nips in between them and plays it out to this near side. Grimsby in their black and white striped shorts, black and white striped shirts. As they come forward, then it's the right-hand side. They now work it to the left-hand side towards Tom Newey. Plays it off Asamoah, and that'll be a Grimsby throw. West Ham have conceded. West Ham 3, Bolton 1. But still looking good for Bolton. Gary Speed, a fine Welsh footballer from down the years, has got one back for Bolton, but surely West Ham are on their way to 3 points there at Upton Park. Grimsby throw on the halfway line, 1-1. It's all gone a bit quiet again at Gay Meadow after that exciting 10 minutes.
Yeah, it has. But it's I still feel that Shrewsbury have got everything in control at the minute, and I think changing from 4-3-3 to 4-3-3 has been a good move for Gary Peters, but we need to get Edwards more in the game. He's still on the fringes, unfortunately.
Well, Grimsby on the attack on the left-hand side as they play towards the station end. Shot comes in, it fizzes over the top as I hear news of another Stockport County goal. Darlington 0, Stockport County 4 in the northeast. David Poole again. Grimsby about to make a change here late on. Let's see who's coming off. It's young Andy Taylor coming off, and the vastly experienced it's Ryan Bennett coming off, beg your pardon. Let's see, vastly experienced Whittle coming on. No, it's McDermott coming off. I'll get there in the end. McDermott, the captain, 700 league games, and he's coming off. Bad news for Telford. Whittle have scored. Whittle won, Telford won in that massive Unibond League final. And what a lovely touch here. All four sides of Gay Meadow applauding John McDermott as he comes off on his 700th league appearance. Justin Whittle comes on. What a fine servant McDermott's been.
Yes, he has been. He's been a very, very good player for them for a number of years. And Justin Whittle's just come on, who was in the Derby County side, reserve side, when I was at Derby with Roy McFarland. He was in the army, and he was the Was he not involved with Shearer when he was at Hull City in that very infamous
had a bit
collision?
of a spat,
That's right.
Welcome to the lower leagues for Alan Shearer that night, wasn't it, when Whittle clocked him. It's 1-1 at Gay Meadow as Fortune West wins Town another corner. 1-1. Fulham 1, Liverpool 0. Massive goal for Fulham maybe towards the bottom of the Premiership at Craven Cottage. Just to recap then, it's 1-1 here, and that would be enough for Town to definitely be in the playoffs. Ben Davies with the equaliser for the penalty spot. Telford though have just conceded at Witton. It's 1-1 there, and there is provisions for extra time and for penalties in that final at Winsham Park. Fasten your seatbelts then, Telford fans. Town free kick delivered by Davies. Langmead closes in. It's goal! I think Langmead the year with a header. Davies free kick. Langmead heads it down and in at the Wakeman end, and that could well be the goal that takes Shrewsbury Town into the League 2 playoffs. They've come from behind yet again. 15 minutes to play. Shrewsbury 2, Grimsby 1.
Fabulous quality on the cross. We've said all through the first half, keep the ball out the goalkeeper's hands. In comes Langmead, and nobody deserves a goal more. And if he's the person that scores the last league goal on at Gay Meadow, I don't think anybody would complain after the season that he's had.
He's had a storming season. Used to be a centre forward, you know, and he's shown he still remembers how to do it.
Yes, I saw him a couple of times last year playing centre forward. A little bit short of pace, but he finds the game much easier facing the ball.
Well, basically, Grimsby have to score twice in the final 15 minutes to make sure the party goes flat inside Gay Meadow. Don't write them off though, they're coming forward here. Down the right hand side, good defending from Drummond. Got his foot in, 3 apiece Peterborough Rochdale in League 2 at London Road. Grimsby corner here though. You don't want to give Grimsby any sort of encouragement, having just taken the lead against them.
No, they concentrate. Now is the time to concentrate, be ruthless, make sure everybody's picked up.
Corner towards the near post, Shearer comes, not very convincing, just about got enough on it, and Davis in the left back position will clear, not very well though. Ball will come straight back into the box, I'm sure, with a Till on this right hand side. Davis working really hard, a bit late in this challenge here though, and Grimsby have a free kick right on the touchline on the right hand side as they play towards the station end. They take the free kick quickly. Newey cuts in field, tees up a teammate. Good spell of pressure here from Grimsby. Angle ball in towards Jones at the far post. Shearer comes through a crowd of players in good hands this time from the Shrewsbury goalkeeper. Good early throw out as well. All of a sudden, Derek Asamoah on the charge. Andy Cooke doing his best to get forward. Asamoah does well. Good sensible hold-up play.
Yeah, did very well to keep control there. Shrewsbury dropped very deep with that free kick into the box there, far too close to the goalkeeper. They need to keep the defenders and the attackers out of the box.
Great ball forward down the inside left channel from Ashton, finds Cook. Asamoah now toying with the player in front of him. Till shows him this way and that, tries to win Town a corner. Till did well, stuck to his guns, and Shrewsbury will have a throw in next to the corner flag. Shrewsbury 2, Grimsby 1 here. Town were 1-0 down at half time, but Ben Davies from the penalty spot with the equaliser just past the hour, and then Davies again, this time with a free kick headed in by Langmead on 75 minutes. It's changed the entire mood around Gay Meadow. There's Ashton takes a long throw towards Fortune West, who's made a difference since coming on. Drummond goes charging into a challenge. Grimsby clear. Newcastle have conceded again at home to Blackburn in the Premiership. Newcastle 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. Time ticking perhaps for Glenn Roeder on Tyneside. All sorts of rumours leaving Sam Allardyce with his job. Yeah, Town playing at a much better pace now.
The Shrewsbury lads have upped the work rate completely. There you had 3 people trying to close the ball, trying to keep the ball in the Grimsby half, and all of a sudden it's encouraged the crowd, and the crowd are very vocal now, and just hoping just keep it up for another 12 or 13 minutes.
Time throw then to be taken down this left hand side by Neil Ashton. Fortune West the obvious target here, wins initial header, big Whittle behind him. That's a good battle that between 2 good campaigners, Whittle and Fortune West. Play Town though will have a throw in here. BBC Radio Shropshire 96 FM live from Gay Meadow today as we say farewell to life in the Football League after 97 years here at Gay Meadow before Town moved down the road to Otley Road at the end of this season, and Town are 2-1 up. Not so good for Telford though. They led early at Witton. Lee Moore inside the opening 60 seconds, but then had 2 goals disallowed, and they've since been pegged back. Witton 1, Telford 1. Could be heading for extra time perhaps at Winsham Park. Grimsby on the attack here with Bohr. Gets away from Tierney, all too easy. Drives the ball in. Well defended by Luke Jones for the Town. Look at the space again for Bohr on the right hand side, deflection off at Tierney, and Town get lucky, went straight to Shearer.
30 seconds ago, Shrewsbury had a free kick in the or a throw in down right by the corner flag. Fortune West started chipping at the referee, and what happens, he gave a free kick at him, and the next time he tried to get the ball. One thing you learn in this game, you keep your mouth closed.
Yep, definitely.
And Shrewsbury, Grimsby had a little bit of a chance there with that cross, because there was only one person out trying to face two people attacking him.
This is the sort of occasion you'd have loved, Alan, in your playing days, being on the Town team today, this sort of occasion with lots of pressure.
I would have just given it to Sammy Irvine and nobody get it off him.
He was a class act, wasn't he, Sammy?
Oh, he was terrific little player.
You took him to Stoke, didn't you? And
he did.
Yep. Here today, Sammy Irvine, classy midfield player, one of many Town old boys watching on from the stands who will be delighted the way it stands at the moment. Town 2-1 up, a little over 10 minutes to play as Cooke wins a free kick against Whittle, or at least I thought he did. The referee disagrees, gives it to Grimsby. MK Dons a 2-1 up on Accrington in League 2. Sean O'Hanlon, the defender. But MK Dons surely have to settle for a place in the playoffs. And they are a long way ahead of the Town, aren't they, MK Dons? But come the playoffs, it counts for nothing. Think back to last season in the conference a few years ago when Hereford were about 20 points ahead of the Town, and it was Town in the end who scraped up thanks to Scott Howe's brilliance at saving penalties in those shootouts against Barnet and then Aldershot at the Britannia Stadium. Into the last 10 minutes, Town 2-1 up, and we can all breathe a little easier at least, Alan.
Yeah, they're doing well. They've actually handled the situation in the second half very, very well. Don't give fouls away.
And the ball bouncing around on the edge of the Grimsby penalty area. It's with Till playing right back now since McDermott went off, drills it down the line, comes off for Neil Ashton, and out of play it will go, and that'll be a Grimsby throw-in. I have to give credit to Grimsby Town. They haven't got an awful lot at stake for themselves apart from professional pride, but they haven't come here and down tools at all, have they?
No, and they've actually got back into it a little bit. And another free kick. They've given one or two stupid free kicks away recently, and you do not want the ball going into your box at this stage of the afternoon.
Well, Town about to send on Saji Burton perhaps as an insurance policy late on. Big defender. St Kitts and Nevis international for these closing stages. It's Town tied to hold on to what they have here. 9 minutes to go. Lee Moore has just missed a great chance for Telford, I'm hearing. It's still 1-1 in the winner-takes-all Unibond League playoff final at Winsham Park. Grimsby free kick here, midway inside the Town half, taken by Newey. Flick header comes in, should be easy for the keeper. He was caught in two minds there, and in the end he lets it drop just over the top.
Yeah, it was a good quality cross again, and with a lot of pace on. He just wanted a touch, but the keeper's done very well. I think he's looked in control. He's held the ball at times as well. Have you seen anybody given a free kick for holding the ball for more than 5 seconds?
I haven't, no.
That was a rule that was introduced this year.
I don't think it's happened, does it? I don't think it's really taken on.
They take longer and longer hanging on to the ball now.
Can take all the time he wants, many Salopians will be saying when Scott Shearer has it in these last 8 minutes. Burton still waiting to come on down below. Town 2-1 up here. Bit more to go at Telford's game. 11 minutes to play in that one at Winsham Park. Whitton 1, Telford 1. They're heading towards extra time, you would think, in that game at Winsham Park. Town though 2-1 up, having trailed at half-time. The comeback kings have done it again. Davies from the spot, and then Langmead. Telford has scored. Chris Corns, former Wolves and Worcester player. He's got a checkered background, and he's scored a massive goal for Telford. Telford 2-1 up at Whitton. Chris Corns, and there's 10 minutes for Telford to hang on. Town making a change. Sensible change as well. Asamoah coming off, and big defender Burton coming up.
He's had a very, very good match, Asamoah. He's always been a threat. Very happy to go and work the touchline, and he more than anybody, I think, got Shrewsbury going during this second half.
Saji Burton been out of favour a bit in recent weeks, hasn't been seen too often at first team level. One of several players out of contract as well, and he will try and keep things tight at the back for Town in the second half. He's slotted straight back in at centre half, in fact, Burton, alongside Langmead. Tierney, who had been playing centre half for 15 minutes or so after Hope went off, he's now switched to left back. Davies on the left side of midfield, but it's still 4-3-3. Ashton on the right, Drummond in the centre, and Davies on the left. 9 minutes to go, I've been told, in that Whitton-Telford game. Chris Corns, and I'm hearing it was an excellent goal. I think Telford would have settled for a goal off someone's backside as long as it ends up in the back of the net and sends them up. So it's shaping up.
Yes.
Touch wood, Alan Durban, to be a fantastic double day for the Shropshire.
Well, hopefully, yes.
Town on the attack. It's just away from Andy Cooke in the penalty area, and Phil Barnes, the goalkeeper, comes and claims. BBC Radio Shropshire, 96 FM, your Shrewsbury Town commentary station. And what a thrilling season we've been able to bring you, haven't we, here on the airwaves? And hopefully it's not over yet. Playoffs to come, we hope. And then who knows,
Grimsby
maybe
are starting to come out too easily. We're letting them out from the back too easily, and they're starting.
That's a pot shot from a long way out, worth a go, high and wide, and not very handsome from Bolland goal kick.
Your defending starts from the front, and the two centre forwards have got to start putting some pressure on the ball, and it enables the midfield to get tight and hopefully just play this last 8 minutes in the Grimsby half, rather than, because they have had one or two efforts to goal over the last couple of minutes. Right? They're getting out too easy from the back.
Have to give Gary Peters some credit today, the way he's managed this side and has used his substitutes.
Today, I give him credit for what he's done over the last 2 or 3 years, because he's stuck to his own task. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's. I think Shrewsbury play uncomplicated. I think they're an uncomplicated side. They know exactly what everybody else is doing, and I think he knows the limitations of his players. He doesn't ask his players to do things that they cannot do, and he's used Asamoah, who wasn't a regular in the side around Christmas. He's used him really well over the last few weeks.
Mark Tierney in the left back position does well, hooks the ball forward here. Still Hartlepool 1, Bristol Rovers 1 in the northeast. Darlington are 4-0 up, 5-0 I'm hearing now. Stockport 5, Darlington 0 in the northeast. Anthony Elding and Lincoln still 1 up on Chester, thanks to a goal from ex-Town striker Mark Stallard. So as it stands, it'll be Town against Lincoln here next Saturday tea time. This is Cooke though. This Town look to seal it up. Lincoln, who have won here ominously on their last 3 visits by the way, by a 1-0. Town have the ball with Tierney down the left-hand side towards Davis. Cooke plays superbly, gives it back to Davis, the man who's helped change the course of this game, won the penalty and scored it, and then he took the free kick which led to Langmead giving Town the lead. Davis tries to win Town a corner. Clever play again from Davis.
Very, very good. Cooke has got better as the game's gone on. Had a very slow start, but he's missed that great chance early on. But I feel that this half he's done really well, brought people into play, held the ball up. And I think 1 or 2 Grimsby players are not too happy with the referee. They're on a bit of a chunter.
Good reason, I'm sure, because they will complain long and hard about that penalty, the one which changed the game. Town were huffing and puffing, but not a lot was going right for them until the penalty was given just past the hour mark. As it is, they now lead 2-1, 4 minutes to go. Town corner taken by Davis, headed away at the near post by the centre half, Fenton, for the Mariners. And Shrewsbury will have a throw-in. Fitting in many ways that it should be Grimsby here on the final day, because in many ways in the 80s they were a mirror image of the town, a small town club punching above their way to the old Division 2.
Yes, first year I was here. I think they got promoted and beat us here 3-0 and did really well. But looking at this, Shrewsbury have done really well over the last 5 minutes just to keep the ball down here and in this corner. And the one thing they have done this half, they've kept the ball out the goalkeeper's hands. It's the thing we were both on about the first half. Even that corner there is short, but it gets headed out again by the corner flag. So you're actually keeping them in their half.
I'm sure Kelvin Langmead will be hoping no one scores in these last couple of minutes, because he will go down in the record books as being the last man to score a Football League goal here at Gay Meadow. Whitton are down to 10 men against Telford. Ian Kearney has been sent off, so Telford against 10 men for the last 5 minutes in that match at Whitton. Whitton 1, Telford 2. Telford are on their way up. Can the same be said for Shrewsbury Town? Grimsby player being booked here, just inside the Town half. Town will have a free kick when play restarts with Shearer. It would be a catastrophic throwaway here, Alan, if Town were to concede twice in these last 4 minutes and blow it.
Well, I can't really see it at the minute. I think the Grimsby players will use the penalty as an excuse. You know, that's what happens with people who get an unfair penalty and they say, well, we would have done all right, but the referee gave a penalty. Bring that name, Kearney brought a blast from the past, because he was a player here when I was...
Kearney?
Yes, that's right. He played centre forward and played at the back a little while towards the end of my time here.
So many memories over the last 97 years here at Gay Meadow, and we are 2 minutes away from time flowing on 97 years here at Gay Meadow. Hopefully, though, the way it's going, we'll be back here next Saturday tea time for a playoff humdinger against Lincoln City. First leg here, second leg at Sincil Bank, unless Chester can do us a favour and score a late equaliser against the Imps, and then it would be the second leg here at Gay Meadow as Edwards has the ball down the right hand side. All the tricks now from Fortune West. Ashton next to the corner flag, just holding the ball up, delivered first time by Davies, could break towards Fortune West. Fortune West comes inside, two defenders double up on him, could break towards Davies. Davies shoots, great save, hit really well by Davies, and Barnes makes a stunning save. It's a tank corner. It was so nearly 3-1.
Yes, I think that's been the best little period of the match. I think Whittle had a bad kick, bad clearance, it bobbled out to Davies at the edge of the box, and a wonderful save by the goalkeeper, and I wonder if Langmead was quite pleased that he saved.
I bet. But he might score again here, Langmead, because Town have a corner. Bristol Rovers has scored at Hartlepool. Ricky Lambert. So 2-1. Ricky Lambert, the ex-Rochdale player, as the corner's delivered by Ashton towards Fortune West. Langmead on the volley. Town should pull everyone back here. Although Grimsby still have to score twice, of course, for Town to miss out on the playoffs, and the whistle's been sounded. Grimsby man's down injured in the 18-yard box. It will be a Grimsby free kick. So let's have a look at this. As it stands, Stockport will miss out on the playoffs despite winning 5-1 away at Darlington, 5-0 at Darlington. It's going to be hard to stomach for Stockport if that's the way it stands. And it would be Bristol Rovers against MK Dons in the playoffs. And Rovers are the form team, so you never know.
Well, they've done very well. Paul Trollope's done very well. I saw them earlier in the season, and funnily enough, I was talking to Alan Hinton last night, who was a blast from the past from Derby.
White boots?
Yes, white boots. And his nephew was actually playing centre-half for Bristol Rovers. Yes, and I didn't realise he was related to him, but
good player.
He told me last night.
Well, we are into stoppage time at Gay Meadow. The club have requested all of the fans stay off the pitch at the end. Usually traditional, isn't it? Last game of the season, pitch invasion. But hopefully, touch wood, we will need to use the old, very worn pitch one more time for a playoff semi-final here. So the club have requested all fans stay off the pitch. Whether those words are heeded remains to be seen. Lincoln 2-0 up against Chester late on at Sincil Bank, so it will definitely be the first leg here. And what a scoreline for the racecourse ground. Whoever loses goes down, and it looks as though Boston are going down. Wrexham 2, Boston 1. Chris Llewellyn in the last minute to save Wrexham's bacon. I think a draw would have been enough to keep them up in any case. But Macclesfield will be getting a bit edgy there as well, I'm sure. As the ball is tossed into the station end penalty area, infringement spotted. Town will have a free kick here inside their 18-yard box. Wrexham have scored again. Late show. 3-1 to Wrexham now. So they're definitely staying up, having flirted with a drop.
Well, that's a great result. I mean, they really struggled after Dennis. I mean, they were struggling when Dennis was there, but when they let Dennis Smith go, he took a wild carry before he won a couple of games. But they've had 3 magnificent wins away from home in the last couple of months,
including here at Gay Meadow. Into stoppage time we are then. BBC Radio Shropshire, your Shrewsbury Town commentary station, and it's been a delight to be here today and report on all of the action of another comeback from the Town. They are 2-1 up here as Burton wins a defensive header. Reading 0, Watford 2 in the Premiership. MK Dons have scored again against Accrington, 3-1 to the Dons. Jude Sterling, the man with the long throw, has scored for the Dons as Grimsby come forward in search of a late equaliser. Barnet 2, Wickham 1. Telford hanging on at Whitton, 2-1 to Telford. Chris Corns could have scored the goal that sends Telford up. Lee Moore had earlier scored inside 60 seconds. Grimsby coming forward down the left-hand side. Good run this from Newey. Great tackle from Neil Ashton. Had to time that dead right, he did. And behind it goes for a corner kick to Grimsby with 30 seconds to play. Goalkeeper Barnes coming up. Even if Grimsby were to score here, it wouldn't take Town out of the playoffs.
Is that 30 seconds with the extra time?
Yep, I think it is. Here comes the corner then towards Barnes, the goalkeeper. Burton wins a header. Came off a Grimsby player last, and behind it goes, and came off a Town man last, in fact. So Grimsby will have a corner here. Stoppage time is up. Town 2, Grimsby 1, Whitton 1, Telford 2. Shaping up to be a great day for Shropshire football. Telford 3-1 up. Telford are up. Steve Foster, great news for the Bucks. Corner to Grimsby. Barnes, the keeper, misses it, and Grimsby have scored. Ball has been turned in stoppage time. Grimsby have scored. The ball has been lashed in. Barnes, the keeper, was up there, and it's been hammered into the back of the net. And I think it was the centre half Fenton that smashes it in with time up. It's Shrewsbury 2, Grimsby 2. Can you believe it?
And it was Barnes that actually caused all the problem, because he thought he was going to head it, and he actually missed it and actually threw all the Shrewsbury players off, but they didn't defend the corner particularly well. So I want this ball right down in this corner flag from this kickoff.
And there you go. It's all over at Gay Meadow. Disappointing way to end. Typical, isn't it, of Shrewsbury, I suppose, in many ways. A team who always make it hard for themselves. They have been beaten. They've drawn here with Grimsby with two goals each. 2 goals each. Langmead and Davies from the penalty spot for the Town. Grimsby scored late on, and we think that means Town will now play MK Dons in the playoffs instead, which isn't exactly fantastic, Alan Durbin.
It's been a wonderful day, absolutely terrific day, and I'm glad everybody can go home and be extremely happy and satisfied with the way that the club handled the day, and more importantly than all, the way that the players actually came out after half time and actually set their stall out, picked the tempo up, and deservedly went 2-1, and it's just a bit disappointing that that wasn't the final score.
Well, a week on Monday it will be the first leg here, Shrewsbury against MK Dons. It should have been Shrewsbury Lincoln, but Town have thrown it away late on in terms of an equaliser. But 2-2 here. Plenty more to come from Gay Meadow with myself, Stuart Dunn, James Bond and Alan Durbin. Let's go to Whitton, shall we? Whitton against Telford and Adam Green. That's the first objective achieved.
It is. It was. We limped into the playoffs. We didn't go in with style, but 1-0 down in the first half, I think everyone would have took a draw then. And once the results started coming through, it was essential that we done what we did. So disappointing end, because we finished 7th, but who knows, that might be our destiny. We might be supposed to play MK Dons. We might end up beating them. We might have lost if we played Lincoln, so who knows. You can't start thinking about things like that. We're in. We've come 7th, so we're the 7th best team in our division, and we need to try and find a way to beat the 4th best team in our division, and that's what it's about now.
And you've done it before, not too many weeks ago.
We have done it. It wasn't very pretty, and we've got to be aware that we've got to be physically strong enough to deal with them. And you know, it's going to be a tough game. It was always going to be a tough game, no matter who you played. And we know who we're playing now, and we know that games like that can be very, very tight, and who knows how it's going to finish up.
How concerned were you at half-time today?
I was concerned, you know, obviously at half-time Bristol Rovers were losing 1-0 to Hartlepool, so although I was concerned, I felt that if we couldn't finish the job off, then we didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. So I was fairly relaxed about it, although I was going to always chase the game. So as soon as we got 10 minutes into the second half, you know, I was going to bring on more forwards and just go hell for leather, because it was no good, you know, no good losing 1-0. We might as well lost 2 or 3-0 or get the game back, which we did.
Equaliser from the penalty spot. Was it a definite pen for you?
He pushed him over. You know, he's running. You know, Ben's running for the goal. He got pushed over. Penalty's given. Just get it and take it and put it away. That was the main thing.
Was it hard to keep the players really focused and tuned into this one today, given all the nostalgia ahead of the game?
No, we didn't care about that. You know, this isn't home for us. You know, it's not a beautiful place. It's, you know, for us, it's been hard work being here for 2 years for myself, trying to, you know, find a way of playing on this pitch, because it's quirky. You know, it's either really boggy in the winter or it's rock hard in the summer, and you know, we've had to walk through it a hell of a lot through these last few weeks just to be able to play on it. And we trained on it the last few weeks as well to make sure that we're really used to it. But you know, it hasn't been a good season on here for us, because we've had so many games called off. We haven't won as many as we would have liked to win at home, but away from home the lads fill their boots. They love it. They can't wait to play away from home. Well, that's not the situation to be in. We don't want to be in that. So you know, it's goodbye, you know, for us, and it's not emotional. We don't care about it. We want to go to the new place, the new facilities, get in the 21st century, be able to knock the ball around and play football. We don't want to have our style of play chosen by what pitch we're playing on. So it's not an emotional day for me at all. It's great that we're in the playoffs, but as for this place, couldn't care less.
Was the playoffs your realistic target at the start of the season, or has it exceeded your expectations getting in the top 7 this term?
I think that it's a realistic target when we started the season off, but all I wanted to do this season is be able to compete with every other club in our division. The 2 previous seasons, or the half a season that I had, we just used to, when I first come here, we used to pray that we could just hang on and defend well enough just to keep them out so that we could stay up. Last season, in the first half of the season, again, we'd go away from home, we'd just be fodder for the opposition, but we started getting tougher in the second half of the season, and now we're a tough outfit. We keep coming back when we're behind, and we win games away from home. And we're tough and we're solid, and we're not easy to beat. And even when we are beat, it's usually because the referee's blown the whistle too early. It's not because we're beat. You know, sometimes we're 1-0 down, we're battering the opposition, trying to get goals, and the referee blows too early. I don't call that a defeat. You know, when we're defeated is probably only once this season, when we played MK Dons and we couldn't come back against them at their place. And that, you know, that was the only time that I felt that if the game had gone on longer, we wouldn't have got back in the game. So it's something that we need to improve on in the playoffs.